One of the best rivalries in all of college football takes center stage yet again as the Red River Shootout commences in Dallas, Texas at the Cotton Bowl. We are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this matchup between the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole Thompson. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like and subscribe, guys. We are on the chase to 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. We cannot do it without your love and support. And also make sure you check out our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get in on the action and get your $250 deposit bonus today. It's Oklahoma, Texas. It's Texas, Oklahoma. It's the Red River Shootout down in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. And for the 121st time ever, these two will meet on the gridiron. And for the first time ever, SEC Unfiltered will be on hand to witness it. We are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game between the Sooners and the Longhorns and the Sooners. Guys, I am Chris Phillips, as always. Joining me, as he always does, my co-host, my colleague, my partner in crime, and the man who will be by my side in Dallas all weekend long. It is Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. I can already smell the funnel cakes and the corn dogs. I can already taste the cotton candy at the Texas State Fair. And oh, by the way, we got ourselves one hell of a football game on deck, my friend.
Yeah, you're also going to try some really exotic foods that you never thought were possible to combine together. You're also going to have an ice cold Shiner Bock. You're going to enjoy what is all of Texas at its finest. But more importantly, you're going to see why this game is so special to the folks out in Norman, to the folks out in Austin, and why this, my friends, is the one place where the hallowed halls of the Cotton Bowl ring true for 4 quarters of action. Half a game, you're on the road. Half the game, it's a home environment. There's nothing built like it, Chris Phillips. I'm excited that I get to welcome you into what is one of college football's greatest moments on a Saturday afternoon in October.
Yeah, and guys, I've already teased it on social media. And of course, Bear, you saw this. I teased the which side do I sit on a deal. Here's what we're thinking. We're going to put me on one side. We're going to put Bear on the other. We're going to meet up after the game and kind of share our experiences. I think that is the most fun way to partake in this. What I'm not going to reveal until game time is who's sitting on what side. Not that it really matters, but it is going to be fun. Either way, it could be fun. It could be not so fun. Either way, one way or the other, depending on how the game goes. By the way, you notice, Bear, I'm mentioning both teams. It's the Texas-Oklahoma game. It's the Oklahoma-Texas game because I don't want to insult either fan base. I don't know which one comes first. Maybe it's Texas-Oklahoma because they won last year. Is that how this works? Or is there a typical method of the madness when it comes to?
You're wrong either way. You're going to piss off some fan base. It doesn't really matter. And this is the one game, again, much like every other major rivalry. Throw records, throw logic, throw everything out the window. We have seen it all unfold out in Dallas in the Cotton Bowl. We could be seeing it again. Like, that's the bottom line. You never know what to expect whenever you see the Red River Shootout unfold.
And let it be known, as Bear just said, the SEC Unfiltered folks here, SEC Unfiltered calls it by its proper name. It is the Red River Shootout. It is Texas and Oklahoma. It is Oklahoma and Texas this Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff on ABC down in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. Once again, Bear, can't wait to see a really historic venue, the Texas State Fair, everything that makes this event so special. Bear, interestingly enough, as we know, the Longhorns coming off the loss to Florida, Oklahoma coming off the win over Kent State. Vegas looked at this one and said, you know what? Despite Texas's struggles, we still think the Longhorns should be a favorite. They opened up as a 3.5-point favorite. That number, Bear, has dropped down to 2.5 as of Monday morning. So Texas still a favorite. It has come down -2.5. The over-under set at 42.5, which if you watch both these sides play offense, a very interesting number to say the least, one that I'm sure it's going to get bet on a lot. Texas does lead the all-time series 64-51-5. I know Oklahoma fans, though, will let you know very quickly what the series history has been since 2000, essentially. I don't have the exact numbers, Bear, but I know that Oklahoma has essentially dominated the rivalry since 2000. They've had Texas's number. Last year, though, the last meeting between the two, we all recall what happened with Oklahoma, the disaster that was their offense. Texas won that game going away 34-3. pure domination. And as I've told many of you off the record, I'm really glad that wasn't my first Red River shootout experience. That being said, obviously, again, guys, the big storyline I know for us personally, Mayor, the fact we're going to be there firsthand. We're going to be there in person. I'll save a lot of the commentary for after the fact because it'll be really cool to look back on the weekend that was and reflect on everything. But super exciting. I've only been to one other neutral site rivalry game. It was obviously the cocktail party, Florida, Georgia, Georgia, Florida. You already know the drill down in Jacksonville. I know this is a completely different beast. I've even talked to you about the fact that, hey, I'm an on-campus guy. I like the games on campus, not a big neutral site guy. You have made it very clear to me this is unlike anything else you have ever experienced. Like you said, half the time it's a home game, half the time it's an away environment. The stadium never gets quiet. So I'm very pumped to see it, my friend. I have no doubts it will live up to and exceed all of my expectations.
What I'm excited about is seeing how both of these teams can respond in a moment that you kind of need. For Oklahoma's standpoint, we're still having the questions of, do we believe that Michael Hawkins Jr. can get the job done in place of John Mateer? And there are people out there that are looking at the rankings every single week and saying, why are we putting Oklahoma this high when they don't have their quarterback anymore? Okay, go on out, beat up on Texas, show why you are sitting at 6-0 and going into the second half of the season with an opportunity to be the favorite to go to a college football playoff and maybe win the SEC this year. But for Texas, you kind of need to start acting a little bit like Florida did last week. Florida went into fight and flight mode and basically said to everybody, we're going to go out swinging. We're going to go do what we do best. And if it ends up panning out our way, cool, then we're in good hands. If not, okay, we're going to hit the reset button. And the reset's not going to be Steve Sarkisian being shown the door like it would be Billy Napier, but it could be you have to make some personnel changes on the offensive side, ones that are a very uncomfortable conversation. Or you can just come back and say, this is the actual version of Texas that we envision to see. So a lot is on the line for both these rosters. A lot of bragging rights, too, for these two fan bases that truly want to still show that they mean business and that they own the other one.
Bear, you look at this game, I think it's a battle of both these offenses. It almost feels like the first of 10 wins, and that might be an over-exaggeration, but I mean, it is going to be a defensive slugfest, truly. Both of these defensive fronts we know are really, really good. I fear for both of these quarterbacks in this game, admittedly. We saw Arch Manning get sacked 6 times a week ago. I saw him. Heck, I've seen him in both of his big games, Florida and Ohio State, running around for his life. The constant theme is they have not been able to run the football. Oklahoma was able to find some running game last week in a conventional sense, but it came against Kent State. So, I mean, Bear, I ask you this question. You and I both agree the defenses are going to dominate the day, but like something's got to give offensively, right? This game can't just end up being a 3-0 or 6-3 final.
No, I can't. You really got to be able to win on the explosive plays, and that's where you have the wide receivers such as Ryan Wingo, Parker Livingston, DeAndre Moore on one side, and then on the opposing side, hopefully a healthy Giovanni Gibson, Deion Burks, and Isaiah Satenga. Satenga is somebody who I think is going to have a career day, and he's going to have to continue to do what we have seen against inferior competition, now against a defense that is able to counteract your punch when it comes to the ground game. Look at what he did last week against Kent State. 172 yards, had a couple of big-time runs on the punt return game, had the big 75 yards, led the team, 2 touchdowns, one for a 30-yard score. You're going to have to see a lot of that. The explosive plays, the 20-plus yards downfield, where after you're running the football and you're kind of tiring down Texas's defensive line, that's where you're going to have to strike, and you're going to have to connect on them. But the same thing goes for Texas. Texas was not able to run the football efficiently at all against Florida's defensive line. And give credit where credit's due. Florida has an exceptional defense. They have been the backbone of this team and kind of at least made things interesting. But Oklahoma is one of, if not the best defense in the SEC. They certainly, in my opinion, are the best defensive line in the SEC. So you're going to have to rely on one of your wide receivers winning its one-on-one battle. And by the way, Chris, it's going to be against one of the best secondaries in college football. Oklahoma's only giving up 118 yards per contest through the year. And credit, it's against Auburn, where you have Jackson Arnold that can't throw the football. It's Michigan, where you have Bryce Underwood, who has no weapons. That's Kent State. But still, they're not allowing wide receivers to break past them. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Arch Manning to kind of show off, I've got the capabilities to let these things fly. I think the quarterback that has more success on the 15 to 25 yard plus passes downfield That's going to be the stat line of the game that we'll come back and we'll say, yep, that was why they won. Because if you got to be able to, I think, get the explosives, since I don't think you're going to be able to run efficiently on either side of the defensive lines.
So the question now comes to this, Bear. Which offense do we trust more to get those explosives? And I go back to the quarterback. Which quarterback do you trust more to maybe turn the corner is the right word? We keep expecting or keep hoping or keep thinking we're going to see something from Arch Manning that we just haven't. I had a lot of confidence going in the Swamp this past weekend that, maybe this was the game coming out of the bye week. He'd look much better. And, I'm not saying that there aren't some bright spots. That'd be unfair to him that there, there's a few of them there, but he still just looks very a lack of composure, in my opinion. He looks like he's trying to get his sea legs under him. He looks like a baby deer trotting around out there, which I guess maybe we should have expected. He is a young quarterback, and he's also behind an offensive line that just cannot protect him at all. He's trying to improvise, make things happen. And then there's the curious case of Michael Hawkins Jr., who, this time last week had a lot of our Oklahoma friends and colleagues and some that we talked to directly on our airwaves that, we're kind of pumping up the Michael Hawkins hype train. And, you see the picture of him with his shirt off, working out, look at the strides he's made physically. And, no doubt he's a physical specimen, and I'm sure he's improved from a season ago. But even in the Kent State game, Bear, coming out of that game, you talked to them, and there's things that gave them cause for concern. So, something obviously has got to give. Like we said, I just think it's interesting. Who do you trust more in this ballgame? And it almost feels like, Bear, it's not even about which offense is going to go out and win this game. Which offense is not going to go out and lose it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to do anything crazy. I don't think all of a sudden you got to, I don't think this is going to be a game where all of a sudden one of these offenses, it clicks and they go score 30. I just, not with these defenses, not with the struggles they've had to this point on the offensive side. Even if John Mateer was playing, give respect to the Texas defense, it would still be tough sledding, and you don't have your quarterback. Damage control on the offensive side, limiting the turnovers. You're right, Bear. I think you're probably going to have to score from far in this game. What I mean by that is I don't see either one of these offenses putting together a 10, 12, 14-play drive. It's probably going to have to come in the form of an explosive play down the field. And again, if I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong. But, I think hitting those deep shots, like you mentioned, some of those different weapons on the outside, whoever's able to limit those defensively, whoever's able to hit those offensively, obviously going to go a long way in winning this game. I think that's going to how you're going to have to attack. And it's a big game for both offensive play callers. Ben Arbuckle, Steve Sarkisian, certainly on his side. We were talking about it pre-show, how pissed off they are, and they have a right to be pissed off with the way they've played to this point. So it's just a fascinating Bear cat and mouse game. And I just think which offense is limiting the mistakes, right? That's going to go such a long way because the defenses, it's no secret, are going to dominate the day in this game.
The question that I have for you, and just throw it out there, you got to report them on the injury report. You have to. But do you have maybe a game plan in motion on both sides where the other quarterback comes in? John Mateer maybe only plays 3 snaps, but those 3 snaps are the difference of you having a win and a loss. And then what about Matthew Caldwell? And I say this not to be disrespectful, but he came in and he had one of, if not the best pass today on the 26-yard strike.
It was a hell of a throw.
It was a beautiful throw. And you're not saying we're going to turn away from Arch. You're not saying, no, we're taking him out of the game and we're going with this guy. It's not Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams 2.0. But he comes on in and he just makes that one throw. Do you have a design play that catches the defense off guard from what they're preparing for in the week? Because you got to report John Mateer on the injury list. You have to. There are rumors, Chipotle says so itself, that maybe we are going to see him out there in some capacity. So what is that? I agree with you on one thing. There are still some issues that you wonder about with Michael Hawkins. Because he rushed in for a touchdown. He had 4 total scores on the day. Looked the part against Kent State. Had some good moments. He still took 3 sacks. He still was sacked 3 times. And this was against the Golden Flashes. You're talking about a defensive line that does feature multiple star names. Cole Brever was brought in to be an enforcer. Hero Canoe was brought in to be an enforcer. But now Watson was brought in to be a difference maker in the trenches. And then you got to throw in Trey Moore on the outside, Colin Simmons, Ant Hill on delayed blitzes, Lefu. All of these guys can go ahead and get after your quarterback. And if he gets rattled and he starts making some mistakes, Texas has a secondary that can easily go ahead and jump a route and take it back. Like, this may be a game where we're talking about special teams and defense being such a big difference maker. For Oklahoma's standpoint, Isaiah Satenga getting you a 40-yard punt return to set you up inside the red zone just to work with the short field position. And then on the opposing side, Kobe Black or Malik Muhammad or Mookie Taft getting an interception on Michael Hawkins and taking it back to give Arch in the offense a short area of defense. That's going to be an area where I think that we got to talk about it a little bit more. I think both things could be possible in this game. I think you also got to trust the rushing attack. And what I mean by that is Florida last week, they said, hey, you know what? We got a running back that we have been waiting to break on out, and we haven't used him properly, even though he is probably our best asset. Let's go ahead and give Jaden Baugh the ball 27 times. Okay, now we can go ahead and set up the explosives. This is one of the best run defenses in the country with Oklahoma. If you have Trey Wisner, what you got with maybe Ryan Nibley if you want to, definitely if you got to get Christian Clark involved, maybe just run down their throat and get Oklahoma to corral the box so that way you can get the explosives over the top. You may have to take a page out of that book. And the same thing goes for Ben Arbuckle. I know that you love the mobile quarterback, and I know that the explosive plays downfield are working, but you just saw Florida take those advantages by getting Texas's defense to feel rattled because they had to defend the run. Do you turn to a Torrey Blaylock? Do you turn to a Jaden Ott? Do you turn to more of a Gabe Sawchuk? What do you look for in the rushing attack to get Texas off balance to where you know they're going to have to let it fly?
Yeah, I think you're going to have to get really creative offensively, Baron. I mean, I think I trust Oklahoma more in that department than Texas. I mean, I think Texas. I just think at least a guy like Hawkins can scoot a little bit. I think you can get a little bit more outside of the box. I mean, I think with Texas, it's, Arch he's mobile, but he's not, not super, super mobile, right? This game, it's going to be a knockdown, drag out fight. Like, we use the term rock fight a lot. This is going to be a straight up rock fight. I mean, who's going to be the boulder? Who's going to have the boulder in their back pocket? I think that's the question. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of just battle in the trenches. Who's the more physical football team? Who can run the football more consistently to help out their quarterback? For both these sides, if you're getting in third and longs and it's obvious passing situations, that is a recipe for absolute disaster for both. I almost feel I'll make a prediction before the predictions. Like, I would almost guarantee there's going to be there's going to be a pick six. There's going to be a scoop and score. Something. There's going to be in this game. There's no doubt in my mind we're going to see at least one unconventional. You mentioned special teams, I think, in a game like this. And I wanted to ask you this before we get into the predictions. You have watched a lot of these. Like, I'm assuming pretty much every one of them. Like you said, this game is different. Throw the record books out. And I've seen it from afar. It's always kind of like a wacky contest, things that just almost hard to predict that happen. Is there anything your gut tells you in this game that we're not expecting that, like, you could see taking place in this one? Is there anything in particular that, because it's a game where it feels so, I don't want to say cut and dry, but it's like nobody trusts either offense. Everybody's thinking defense. Like, there's no way this game flips on its head. It's actually like a higher scoring game, right? There's just no way.
I'll tell you what I think at this point needs to happen, especially from the Texas side. You need circa 2018 Sam Ehlinger to come on out. You need that performance. And the reason I say that one is because of he had 2 passing touchdowns. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. He wasn't the leading rusher, but inside the red zone, they said, here's the ball, 11, go ahead and punch it on in. And it was a fist fight to the end with high explosive plays against Kyler Murray in a Heisman Trophy season. You need that. And you need that from Arch Manning. What I think, you're 100% right. Something crazy is going to happen. Like a bobbled ricochet ball in the arms of, say, DeAndre Moore. And then it's picked off by Guillory, and it's going back for 6 points the other way in favor of Oklahoma. A strip sack by R. Mason Thomas, and Robert Spears Jennings is running down the sidelines, and it's a scoop and score for 51 yards inside the red zone. You get an Isaiah Satenga punt return for an 87-yard score, or a Ryan Niblett punt return, kickoff return for a 99-yard score. Like that needs to happen. But I think that we're going to see a lot of that. I truly do think that we're going to see a high scoring game, or higher scoring than what we envisioned, simply because of, as much as we trust these defenses, it's just something weird about these two teams. It's just something weird when these two meet up. They seem to deliver the performance to remember. And usually the unexpected always happens in some capacity. And maybe that unexpected is John Mateer does get to be involved in this game. And we just didn't know up until literally game time. And it's, okay, 10's back out there. This is why you said that he was going to win the Heisman Trophy, because if he wanted to play in this moment. Like that could be the case. It truly could. But I will say, the thing that I think for Texas, you need your Sam Ehlinger moment. That game where Cam Dicker got the game-winning field goal was truly set up because Ehlinger embodied everything that was for Texas. What it meant to wear the burnt orange and white, what it meant to be the quarterback at that program, and the legacy he was going to be leaving behind, knowing that he gets to wear the golden cowboy hat and walk off into the sunset saying that I got the better of a Heisman Trophy winner. You need that from Arch. Like this is what you come to Texas for. And I get it. You come for the ambiance. You come to win national titles. There is a lot more on the line than just that. Legacies and legendary performances are born in Dallas. And this is the moment where Arch Manning can kind of silence a lot of critics by getting the team back on the course. But on the same token, this might be the moment where, again, Brent Venables gets to say, guys, I'm batting 500 in the Red River game. We're bowl eligible, and we're a top 10 team in the country, not slowing down anytime soon. So a lot of things are on the line. It's going to get crazy. You are right, though. My bold prediction is we will see at least 2 special teams touchdowns, and one is going to be on a block punt.
Yeah, but you think about this game, Bear, it goes without saying. You were talking about kind of setting the scene record-wise for Texas. Backs against the wall, you're 3-2. Any shot at the playoff, even though I think it's a little bit far-fetched at this point. But if you're going to have it, if you're going to stay mathematically alive, you got to win this game. And for Oklahoma, Bear, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with you win this game, get to 6-0. And if you can do it without John Mateer, I mean, you're putting yourself so far ahead of the sticks, in my opinion, from a standpoint of setting yourself up for not just the college football playoff, but the SEC championship. Yeah. I mean, you're on a street paved to gold to Atlanta for the SEC title. But again, this game need no extra hype, Bear. This game need no extra stakes on it. It's the Red River Shootout. It speaks for itself. That being said, let's get into our predictions. Let's lock in some picks, Bear. Do you want the honors or you want me to
I'll go first? Listen, This is the game that every single year is so exciting for whatever the reason. Great defensive performances, offensive strikes, big-time special teams plays, and just pure hatred. I mean, the second that you get ready for a Saturday morning and you don either the burnt orange or the crimson and cream, you know that opposing sideline is not your friend. They are your enemy. They are basically the Hatfields and the McCoys, and you are ready for somebody to throw down the red mark, and you just go to battle. Like, that's what it is. And that's what makes college football different than any other sport out there in the United States, and probably one of the greatest sports, if not the greatest sport in the world, because of a game like this. You're going to show the best performance. And I think that Texas knows this. I think that Oklahoma knows this. Defensively, I think both lines are going to get after the quarterback, whoever is playing quarterback. Caldwell, John Mateer, Hawkins, Manning, you're going to see some plays. You're going to need to rely on the explosives on both sides. And that could be explosive runs, getting to the second and third level of a defense and just going off to the races, and you're shot out of a cannon. Like, basically, you're trying to hit Big Tex in the face with a knockout sucker punch at full speed. Like, that's what we got to talk about. That's what you need. You're going to watch as both of these play callers, and Sark and Ben Arbuckle, get into their bag of tricks and try to catch somebody off guard. And I think that's going to be the big storyline in this game is, can we get back to the fundamentals of what made our offense so much fun and unique? When Sark was out at Alabama, and he was working with Mac Jones, he wasn't afraid to get into his bag of tricks and say, you know what? Let's call this randomly. Let it fly. I haven't called this in 5 years. Let's do that. And you catch a team off guard. And then for Ben Arbuckle, listen, what you were able to do last season out of Washington State led you to Oklahoma. Show why this was the reason you were supposed to be the right hire. I think both things can happen. I think this is going to be a back and forth scoring game. I think that we are going to see a lot of explosives. And I think that we are going to see this go down to the wire because of its Red River. It is college football at its finest. It is a Saturday out in Dallas between two fan bases that want to watch the other suffer and cry and walk out of the Cotton Bowl holding nothing more than just their empathy and going to the nearest watering hole to drown their sorrows. That's what you're going to see. But right now, I think that Oklahoma's defense is the best in college football. And I think Oklahoma's defense is getting after quarterbacks. I think that they're making teams panic. And they're making offensive coordinators have to go into their bag of tricks to where they're basically throwing up their hands saying, I got nothing left. It's up to you. I think this is going to be them playing the anaconda game where they suffocate their prey long enough to where eventually they just say, all right, we're done. And even if Michael Hawkins has to come on in and be the hero in this game, it's fine enough. As much as I want to say that Texas can make this thing back on track, I haven't seen it. Haven't seen it with the offensive line. I've seen enough from where the explosive plays from Oklahoma, I think, are going to connect. So I'm going to go Oklahoma wins this one 31-27. I do think this is going to be high scoring. I do think we are going to see a lot of explosives. Ultimately, Boomer Sooner. We're sitting at 6-0. Mighty fine going into the second half of the SEC season. Atlanta's calling your name. Can you find a way to continue this pathway even without number 10 underneath center?
31-27. I respect the heck out of that.
It's going to be a weird game, man. I'm telling you. It's going to be a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anybody that would know, you would know. First off, really excited to get to Dallas and experience this firsthand. I've heard so much about it. Obviously, caught grief from you, caught grief from Texas and Oklahoma fans last year for not going. So really, really pumped. And I'm glad, admittedly, again, based off just what happened in the game last year, I'm glad this is my first Red River shootout. Excited to take it all in this weekend. It's so interesting, Bear, because you go back to the Vegas line, you're like, why is Texas favored? Like, what? They're not idiots. They're not idiots. They don't build those mansions out there in the desert off winners' money. They know what they're doing. And I don't know if they're just – because admittedly, when the spread came out, I felt like, hey, the wrong team's favored. It felt like, based off the way the two teams have been playing, the wrong team is favored. I don't know if they look at the play of Michael Hawkins Jr., no John Mateer, if they're looking at – maybe they're lost in the Texas logo, or they know that people will bet on Texas because of the logo, or because the goal of Vegas is just to get even money on both sides. That being said, when you look at this game, I'm excited for the unexpected that's going to inevitably occur in this one. I will say. I know this is a rivalry that it speaks for itself. Expect the unexpected. It's going to be a thriller. It's going to be down to the wire. That is not something I'm even remotely concerned with. I know we are in for an absolute classic. I feel confident in saying that. For Texas, backs against the wall, a feeling of now or never. You've had two opportunities against opponents on your level, and you've looked very, very porous, especially offensively in both. And I've attended both. And I know Texas fans aren't exactly thrilled that I'm probably going to be in attendance, but it is what it is. I'm not the one calling plays or coaching the offensive line, better yet. But I've seen it firsthand in Columbus and in Gainesville. For Oklahoma, I was really concerned, Bear, when John Mateer when the injury news came out and all but ruled out for the game. I agree with you. Let's see what the gamesmanship looks like. I don't expect him to play in this game. And if he does play, like you said, it'd be like a couple plays as a decoy. I don't expect him to really see the field or make any sort of impact in this game. So you turn to Michael Hawkins Jr. What can you get out of a conventional running game? Can Michael Hawkins Jr., can you do some things creatively? Can Ben Arbuckle do some things creatively? And I'm sure they didn't go into their bag of tricks last week against Kent State. Can they do some things creatively to move the football? Both these defenses are elite. Bear, right now, I trust Oklahoma offensively to figure something out more than I trust Texas to. I think Oklahoma can get a little bit more creative, go a little bit deeper in their bag. I don't think either are going to put up any crazy numbers. But if I say Texas is going to turn a corner and do something that they just haven't done to this point, I'm going off of pure hope and faith. I'm not going off of anything tangible. I have no proof of concept that tells me that all of a sudden, against the best defensive front in the country, they're going to get it rolling. This is not the week to figure yourself out if you're the Texas offense. It's not. It's not. The bye week was the time to figure yourself out. Those 3 non-con games you had in a row were the time to figure yourself out. I'm starting to think maybe you just are who you are. And I think Oklahoma is going to exploit you. I do. I think Texas is closer to a 6-16 than they are a college football playoff contender. And I think Oklahoma, this game again, will deliver. It will be an absolute war for 4 quarters. But these two programs in the year 2025 are going in completely different directions. Oklahoma is on their path potentially to the SEC championship and the college football playoff, and Texas is staring down the barrel of a 6-6 or 7-5 season. I think it's the Oklahoma defense, whether it's a pick six, scoop and score, making a big play, and limiting Texas offensively. I think it's 5 or 6 sacks yet again. I think it's more struggles for Arch Manning, and I think it's Oklahoma prevailing. The wrong team is favored in this football game. It should be the Sooners. Give me Oklahoma 16, Texas 13. I think it's much lower scoring than what you went with, Bear. But either way, I do think it's Boomer Sooner. End of the day, there is just nothing that Texas has done to this point that would give me any confidence in picking them, even without John Mateer for Oklahoma. I think they'll limit the mistakes. They'll limit the turnovers. I don't think I can say the same about what Texas will do in this football game. And I just think it's the Oklahoma defense dominating the day. They've got one more punch in what will be a heavyweight fight. Sooners 16, Longhorns 13. Going to be an absolute thriller. So, hey, I got a low-scoring game. You got a higher-scoring game. Honestly, I hope you're right. I'd love to see more points. I'd love to. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute thriller. We're both going with Oklahoma, though, which terrifies the hell out of me, I will admit. But, yeah, I just think the wrong team's favored, Bear. From what we've seen to this point, I don't know how you can go the other way. I really don't.
Here's the way that you can go the other way. Because if it's the Red River Shootout and wild things happen in the Cotton Bowl on a Saturday in October, that's the way you can go the other way. And unfortunately, I've seen it unfold on both sides. I don't believe it's going to happen this year, but I've seen crazier things happen in this rivalry. Texas having a performance to remember offensively and Arch Manning walking off with the golden cowboy hat, not in the top 5 dumbest and craziest things I could see happen in 2025, especially because of in this state.
Yeah, a game that certainly will deliver no matter who comes out on top. Who's going to be wearing that golden cowboy hat? You guys let us know. Bear and I both are going with Oklahoma. You guys agree? Do you disagree? Who comes out on top Saturday in Dallas in the Red River Shootout? Guys, it's going to do it all for us. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's got you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. If you win, that's right, pick a bet $5. If it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel's got you covered. NFL season's in full swing, college football as well, MLB playoffs, college basketball's around the corner, NHL, NBA, you name it, guys. Get in the action. The only question is, are you ready to play? You can get ready to play with our friends over at FanDuel.com/SECU. That's FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. Once again, guys, it's going to do all for us. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Drop us your recommendations, by the way, for the weekend in Dallas. I know the Bear will take care of me, but I've never been, so I'd love to hear. We'd love to hear where you guys are going to be Friday, Saturday, all throughout the weekend. Red River Shootout on deck. Guys, as always, make sure you like and subscribe. The race to 30,000 subs on YouTube is officially on. We can't do it without your love and support. Check us out wherever you get your podcast, across all social media platforms, and as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. For Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we'll see you all in Dallas this weekend.